Hey folks, welcome to verifiedinvesting.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. Now, in today's video, we're going to deep dive into the key market movers on today's date. And again, the key is not just stocks, but maybe crypto, commodities, where's the S&P, and what is really moving the markets today. So the biggest things that are jumping out to me, obviously, the president declared that the ceasefire was over with Iran, and there has been more bombings going on. And essentially, he said that even though negotiations could continue, he doesn't hold out much hope of any success. So we are seeing oil rally today. I would say that's the big story of the day. Crude oil jumping up decently here today. And we'll look at that chart real quick here. Let's bring it up now as we speak. And so we can see here crude oil. We'll get rid of this so we can make it bigger. Beautiful move up. Look at it yesterday. So yesterday there must have been some insiders that knew something because oil rallied yesterday and today again. Now, if you've been following me, you knew that I was long as of this gap fill right there. This is a technical level based on technical analysis. When gaps get filled, it was essentially the beginning of the big move up. It finally concluded with a 100% retrace. There's your bounce, right? So again, great job if you did play along with me. Now, upside, where's the upside target? First upside target is only around $79, give or take. We're actually pretty close to that already. So for those of you in smart money, commodities and miners, where we have this position in the USO, which is the oil ETF, I am looking to potentially take it off the table when we get close to that $79 per barrel level. But again, great chart right here. And again, this is definitely making the markets a little bit nervous. It's also causing interest rates to spike higher. The 10-year yield now is trading near 4.6%. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, because oil going up is inflationary, right? So the markets had priced in that oil was coming down, that everything was going to be okay, that oil would stay around, let's say, $65 a barrel. Well, now it's at $75 a barrel, right? And so you have the scenario where that is going to be added pressure to inflation, which therefore means that the Fed has to be more hawkish, and obviously rates potentially have to go up. So that's what we're seeing in the 10-year yield. And the negative is for investors is that it makes, for companies like small caps, it makes borrowing money more expensive. And just in general for the economy, right? If you're looking to buy a house, if you're looking to get a mortgage, whatever it is, or a loan, those things are going to be more expensive. So that's a major factor in today's action. You can see that just in a matter of about a week, we've gone from 4.36 on the 10-year now to 4.6 on the 10-year. That's about a 24 basis point move. Basically, remember, I mean, if the Fed were to raise rates, it's 25 basis points. That's what the 10-year has gone up just in the last week. All right. Another key factor I'm watching is the dollar yen. This is a huge thing that most retail will not know about, but the dollar yen plays an intricate role in money that flows between Japan and the US. Generally, the carry trade, for those of you that don't know, it's you borrow money from Japan at a super low interest rate and you invest it here in the US for a better interest rate. The key is when that currency starts to depreciate, like we're seeing with the dollar yen going higher, that's showing us that the yen is getting weaker and weaker. That can cause a earthquake, a massive earthquake in the yen carry trade. We saw that not that long ago in 2024, right over here. And when the yen carry trade unwound here, and the currency basically, when the dollar depreciated, they intervened. We saw a swoon of the NASDAQ of up to 15% in just a matter of a couple of weeks. So it has the potential to be big. And there's more chatter that they're going to have to intervene up here again, as it's now at new all-time highs of dollar to yen. Okay, so that's another big mover on the day. A couple other big movers. We have Alibaba pushing up beautifully today. That's the weekly chart. If we go to the daily chart, it's gapping up. The key news here, folks, on Alibaba, we can even read it off of the chart right here. Alibaba shares jumped about 12%, biggest one-day rise since September of 2025. And again, the key here is this was on the back of essentially regulation being relented or released, essentially lightened against Alibaba, and therefore the stock is responding. Plus, in all fairness, I mean, look at the chart, right? By the way, I am long in smart money stocks and ETFs. I love this play. And one thing I want to show you guys, look at this. And this is what I love to see, is you basically have support, 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 and support right there. And look at how the chart was telling you it was oversold. Look at the drop, 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 drop. right into that level. You get this reversal green candle and then popping right back up. So beautiful move there on that chart of Alibaba. So China stocks are generally stronger. The only other area of interest to me, at least, is in the charts of the semiconductors. So if we look at semis like SanDisk today, SanDisk surged to the upside in early trading, trading as high as $1,707. It is now pulled back to 1612, basically a 100-point drawdown on SanDisk. Look at this rollover here today. This is not a good rollover for the semis. And the reason I say that, and you're seeing it across the board on almost all of these semis, Micron included. Look at Micron. Micron now negative on the day, down about 2.25%. But the concept here is that they're still deleveraging. And when you have a leverage trade like the AI trade in the semis, the rollover is going to be merciless. In other words, when we're looking at Micron, where do I think Micron is going to go before I'm interested in playing it as a long? Anywhere between 820 and 750. This zone right here. High pivot and a gap fill right there. That's what I'm looking for. And I think we could be there by the end of this week or early next week in terms of the charts on the semis. And the semis are all the same, right? I mean, STX, which is a memory player as well, that was surging up. It's now negative on the day, down about just under 1%. The one caveat is AVGO, which is staying, it's relatively strong, up 4%. And the thought process here is, or the news at least, is that they extended their multi-billion-dollar deal for supplying Apple with chips, right? So again, AVGO, which is Broadcom, which is basically a 2 trillion, little less than 2 trillion now, market cap company, that is essentially running on news, while the rest of the space has given up most of its gains. Again, these are breadcrumbs, right? So when you have a sector that's been beaten down and gets an early bounce, but it can't hold that bounce, it usually tells you that institutional money's dumping into that bounce and delevering. And that means that likely we're headed lower in the coming days on these semiconductor charts. All right. So just a heads up. Again, I'm not necessarily talking about AVGO, but we're talking about the Microns, the SanDisks, the STXs, these crazy runners. If we look at ARM Holdings, let's take a look at that. Oh man, that's at the lows, even the recent lows. This is going to be a huge level. This gap fill at 257 on ARM Holdings. And then if we look at MRVL, there's a gap fill here at 219 that looks really interesting for at least a quick swing trade. And then we'll have to see eventually. I think it's going down into this range here, somewhere in this 175 level. But these are incredible corrections. We're talking 30 to plus % drops on the semiconductor stocks. And again, if you've been following along, you knew I said this was coming. I said, listen, this is a bubble. So many people know it's not a bubble. No, it's not this. No, it's not that. Hate to say it, but when you have trillion-dollar companies doubling in value, or $500 billion companies doubling and tripling in value, yes, that is a bubble. And people forget. People are newer investors, and I get that. I've been around since the late 90s trading. That's when I first got my start just into the dot-com bubble and the collapse. So I remember, unfortunately, those lessons taught me hard. What goes up sharply will correct because sentiment is driving it, right? So you could say, well, the fundamentals, yeah, but you also have to look at the cyclical nature of the semis. And people are saying this time is different. It's never different, folks. And anytime someone says this time is different, don't believe them. It's not the case. And listen, I'm not saying the AI is not here to change our world. Remember, it is. In addition, the internet and the dot-com changed our world immensely. I mean, heck, we all have smartphones now. We all do this. I mean, it's incredible. But it didn't mean that the collapse didn't come. And always remember that, guys. That's super, super important. All right. That is your Pro Charts video for the day, the market movers. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in to Verified Investing, and we'll see you soon.